What's a lie your family taught you that took years to unlearn? Me and my parents have always hated my younger sister Harper. When she was a baby, she cried so much more than I ever did, and she felt like the dead weight of the family. But it wasn't always like this. When we were children, I always loved her. Whenever she banged her head against the living room table, I would be the one to comfort her while she cried. Or when she won an award at school, I'd throw her up in the air and tell her how proud I was. But then my parents finally opened my eyes to how dumb I was being. Whenever Harper did something wrong, they would point and laugh at her until she cried to make sure she never did it again. And whenever they tried to help me with anything, they'd remind me that I don't want to end up like Harper. But I guess I was stubborn because I still wanted to protect her at all costs. But my parents made sure to beat this out of me. Whenever I was nice to her, they'd pull me aside and tell me I was ruining their parenting methods, that I was a bad person, and would be sent away if I kept being such a terrible role model. From there, we stopped celebrating her birthday, constantly reminded her how annoying she was, how she needed to be humble and stop being selfish. And anytime I felt guilt rise in my chest, I reminded myself of my parents' words, how I was doing the best thing for Harper. And for her 16th birthday, they actually got her a gift, except it wasn't for her, it was for me. They kicked her out. You see, I was 8 months pregnant and I wanted her bedroom for the newborn baby. Plus, our aunt was willing to take her in, so I figured it was a no-brainer. I watched as she tried not to cry while throwing all her belongings into bin bags. Some part of me was even happy for her. Maybe she could find some place where she felt like she belonged. My boyfriend moved in after that, and he spent the next few weeks working and building our future daughter's bedroom. My labor was smooth, no complications. The problems came after I brought Lily home, because my mom made home-cooked dinners for us every day, making sure they were filled with nutrients to replenish my body after giving birth. My husband was giving me foot massages, and my dad was working overtime for Lily. It was the life I always wanted to give her, until she turned 3. She was walking around the living room, rearranging the furniture when she banged her head against the wooden table, just as Harper did all those years ago. I went over to comfort her and make sure she was okay, and that's when my mom lunged forward to separate us. Let her cry by herself, like, we have to toughen her up. I pushed her off of me and brought my baby girl into my bedroom to cradle her. As I looked into her eyes, I thought of Harper, how I had once cradled her in the exact same way. I felt the familiar sense of guilt creep into my chest, but this time I couldn't push it away. I waited for Lily to fall asleep before sneaking into the bathroom and letting myself fall apart. I had ruined her childhood, killed the light in her heart, made her think love should be earned instead of freely, all because I was scared. All in the name of my parents' approval. I didn't even think before taking my iPhone out of my pocket and calling her. We hadn't even talked since she got kicked out, and to my surprise, she answered straight away. Harper, I'm so sorry. Horrible sister. By this point, my hands were trembling and I was still in tears. I honestly expected her to just hang up and block me, but she didn't. Mila, it's okay. I never blamed you. She was only 20, but her tone was so mature, forgiving. So much so that I cried even harder, and I asked if she wanted to meet Lily. Yes! She yelled, that childish spark coming out again. I immediately booked an Uber to hers, and we spent the entire evening crying and laughing together, like we were family again. When I went home that night, I told my parents everything. I expected them to be happy that the family was fixing itself. Instead, they got mad, like really mad. Mila, didn't we talk about this? My mom asked. Her tone was condescending and passive-aggressive. When I glanced over at my dad, his fist was on the table, clenched so hard that his knuckles were white, but this time I wasn't scared. Harper is my sister. She's your daughter. What the F is wrong with you? All my guilt had suddenly shifted to anger, and I had no empathy left. My mom's eyes widened in disbelief, then narrowed to bitter slits. If Harper is so perfect, go live with her. See how far her softness gets you, she scoffed like I was the biggest idiot in the world. Okay, I said with a smile. I felt their eyes staring at me as I walked upstairs to pack. In the next 2 hours, I was waiting for our aunt to pick me up in her van. The house was nice. There were pictures of my aunt and Harper all over the walls. It had this homey feeling I had never experienced before, and my boyfriend fit right in too. But of course, with my parents, nothing good ever lasts. And the next day, I woke up to a knock at the door. It wasn't my parents, it was CPS. The rest of the full story is on my channel and linked below.